Anyways, I wanted to talk about some stuff. The Lord has been speaking to me. One of the things he talked about is I go, Lord, what am I learning in all this? Because there's got to be something that I'm learning in all this. And there was a couple things. One is when I decided to put worship on and I walked the halls in the hospital because I had to walk, I noticed that I was changing the atmosphere. I got so into worship and I had my Bluetooth on and I was just, the presence of the Lord was so in me that normally people don't look at you or say much when you're walking the halls. And all of a sudden people would look at me and they'd smile. There was just such I could feel God moving out of me. It was the most amazing thing. And I thought, man, we do this all the time. We change atmospheres. You know, if you're paying attention to the fullness of God that's in you, it was amazing. I was just having the best time watching what God was doing. And there was so much craziness in my room because they had moved somebody in that just came in off the streets and everybody was trying to find out what was going on. The social workers were in there and then she was hysterical. And I just needed to get in a place with God. And it wasn't going to happen in my room. So I walked a lot that day. Walked a lot. And so the Lord just started speaking to me about our atmosphere. And we change it one way or another. We can change it very negatively, or we can change it very positively, or we can bring in peace and comfort just by being around people. And I know I carry peace, so I know I bring that. I carry his presence, so there's all kinds of, that happens. And then I started thinking, okay, so there's this poison in me that got out. And then I go, now I have to build and strengthen my core. I go, that's a prophetic message. We got to get the poison out, and we have to have our core strong. So what does that look like? And Mike and I have been talking, and hopefully he'll come up and maybe fill in on some of this stuff, but we've been talking about a lot of stuff. I might try to think where we want to go with all this. I think partly in my speaking it out. Okay, so for instance, when God said, let there be light, there was a vibration that came in his voice that caused light to happen. And everything, if you scientifically see it, there's vibration in it. There's vibration in us, there's vibration in every living thing, right? Yes. All you science people. And so when I was speaking that I'm going to be doing well, I'm going to recover quickly, I was speaking it into the atmosphere, and it was causing momentum, and it was causing my subconscious to listen, and it was causing my body to listen, and everything started listening to what was going on. Mike and I have been talking about this. And it caused my body to respond in a positive way. Now, what if I would have said, oh, I'm going to be miserable, it's going to take me forever to get better? What would my subconscious be hearing? And I would still probably be at home. Come this way more. Whoa. We got to come this way more. Come this way.
Go away.
Okay, there we go. You weren't in the camera. Okay, go ahead.
What were you talking about?
Oh, I was talking about speaking it and what it was doing by speaking. I not only did I speak it, but I believed it, that I was going to heal quickly and that it would be an easy recovery for me.
Yeah. So there's a difference. Thank you. There's a difference between thinking it, hoping for it, and believing it. Now, there's ways that you can, here's a great way to put in your consciousness, okay? I'm not getting weird here. I mean, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Your brain is an amazing thing. Absolutely amazing. And I'm learning more and more about that all the time. There is a sympathetic vibration in your brain. So like if I come home and I'm in a lousy mood, all right? My vibrations in my head, okay, are doing these ugly things, and I can affect Kim. All of a sudden, I've changed the atmosphere. Oh yeah, Mark's shaking his head. Oh yeah, I've done that. Been there, done that. And it's gone the other way, where if I come home and I'm bummed out and she's in a great mood, I can sympathetically change what's going on in the vibrations that are happening. Now, I noticed this. It was a weird thing. I didn't ever, I was in high school, I think. Anyway, so I went to this party once when I was, and I got there, and for whatever reason, I was in a bad mood. I brought the whole party down. And I thought, boy, I got that much juice, Because they're going, yeah, we were all having a good time till you walked in. You brought the whole place down. And I thought, that is really strange, but that's what happened. It's true, you could do that. Or you could be the life of the party, energetic, and come in there and just bust the thing wide open, It was a downer, but now it's busting wide open. I'm here to tell you that to get the things that you desire, you have to be emotionally invested. When you worship, all right, you have to be, in order to line up with what's happening in the heavens, emotionally invested. I mean, think how many times I sing these songs. I've been practicing them, singing them here, singing them other places, blah, 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 blah. I sing the same songs all the time. I've got to be the worship leader, you have to connect emotionally to every single thing, all the phrases and stuff. They'll pop up, and I had a couple of them, just kind of made me choke a little bit because boom, I'm invested. That's when you're in the middle of it. I was lucky when I got saved. I'll be honest with you. When I got saved, man, was it an emotional experience. Because I think I told you the story where Jesus showed up in my van. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And started telling me all the times when I was going through problems, he was there, he was there, he was there. And I just started breaking down, crying right in the middle of the freeway. But, so I'm invested, baby. That was an emotional experience. And some of you have had those things. But those are the kind of things that make it happen. How about healing? Here's a good thing. You'll love this. All right? When the Father... let me back up. You'll find throughout scriptures that Jesus spent a lot of time alone. Right? He went off to be alone. Correct? What was he doing? Yeah, hanging out with the Father. And the Father would show him things, right? Show him his will. I only do what I see my Father doing. My will is to do the will of the Father. Okay? All right, here we go. When the Father would tell Jesus, go hang out at the well, because a woman's going to come to you, and this is what's going on in her life. All right? Now, when Jesus spoke those words, there was juice on it. You understand? Why? Because they came from the Father. It's got some juice on it, man. Well, it worked before, so let's do it like this again. You ever tried to do some of those things? Well, the last time I did it like this, and they got healed, but it didn't work this time. Well, why is that? Well, sometimes that's all I know, so I'm going to do it the same way. Well, how about getting together with the Father and being emotionally invested in that relationship so that you could catch what the Father is doing, and you'll be at the place at that particular time, and you'll see miraculous things happen.
Amen. No, there's so much truth to that. For instance, when I got into worship, because I'm emotionally invested in worship, because I'm invested in my relationship with Jesus, it isn't just a handshake. I'm invested in him and him and me. We're one. So when I'm in this place of worship, because of that, that is why it affected all the people around me.
Yeah.
Because I am invested in my relationship with Jesus and in the Father, that the Holy Spirit was able to come in and move out of me and touch the people around me. So we know lots of people that are saved, and you know lots of people that know Jesus, know who he is, and then you know people that know who he is. And you can know the difference, right? Yeah. So when people are invested, you can tell by the way people pray. Because when you're close to somebody, you pray really close. Like if Mike tells me something and I go, oh, Mike just told me this amazing thing about you. But if I'm not, I'm going to say, oh, the Father in heaven, which thou I pray and talk to, is telling me something about you. There's a difference in that way of the intimate of knowing him well enough or knowing the Father well enough in the way that you even pray. Because you're going to speak what he's telling you to pray. And not... And then the relationship just comes out. Now, it could be in your own language, obviously, but you're going to go the direction in which he's bringing it.
Yeah. I was spending time with the Father the other day, and guess what he showed me? See, that's the language.
I want to know.
You know, I want to know. What did he say? Have you ever come up to somebody and done that? And they're like, really? What did God say about me? It's a funny thing. Okay, so... You know that whole thing about renewing your mind? All right. We gotta get set on what that looks like and what that is. I'm trying to let's just say you had an emotional event, whatever happened, like, you know, I was talking earlier to somebody, like, I had a water leak in the back of my yard.
What?
A water leak in the backyard, and so I had to fix it, right? Not that emotional. But man, I could have really gotten to ruin my whole day, you know, ruin my week or whatever, just because I had to go do something I wasn't planning on doing, right? Yeah. All right, so you have this emotional event, but you dwell on it for days. And it kind of changes who you are, because you're constantly going over it in your mind. And so to tell the story, you got to be, you know, got to keep going through all the details. And somebody says, Mike, what's wrong with you? You know? Well, this thing happened to me, and now I've got a mood. Right?
Yes.
All right. You stay on that. The neurons, or the synapses, that traveled, if you wear those things down because you're constantly thinking about it, you're telling people about it, you're emotional about it. I mean, can you imagine someone just tried to pull in front of me and, you know, they almost killed me, you know? And we had that happen on the freeway once. I'm in the fast lane. No, this is a good one. We're in the carpool lane. We're going down south, and somebody wasn't watching. He decided to come in, you know, where you kind of come in from the fast lane. But he wasn't watching, and he almost plowed into me. And I'm like, ah! You know, I mean, you know. And Kim glanced over and saw him, and
He's going, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's apologizing, you know.
I said,
well, you know, my heart's like boom, 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 right? Because I thought I was going to get plastered into the guardrail, right? And Kim's like, but he said he was sorry.
He said he's sorry.
I got this emotion, you know, going on in me. My adrenaline's up, and she's going, yeah, but he said he was sorry.
And he goes, does that help my fear any?
And I did calm down eventually, but that's the difference, okay? All right. So here you're in a mood, okay? So you continually tell the story. And what it does is supports the condition of your body and your brain to that past event. My body's still there. I still had trauma. Okay? All right. So allowing it to linger for weeks or months, then it becomes a temperament. Yeah. Weird, eh? So if you allow that to happen and continue in you for years and years and years, guess what? Then it becomes a personality trait.
Interesting.
Isn't that weird? But that's our brain. That's our brain. So that's why we need to keep renewing it. And the truth is, our brain is so weird about this. To keep this thing alive for that long, we actually make up facts that aren't true to support the very thing of that trauma. 50% of what you believe the story was like this is wrong. This is what they found out. Isn't that crazy? So you're only half right in the first place about the trauma that happened to you a bazillion years ago, right? Which is why you got to let these trauma things go. You got to let it go quickly.
That's poison. That's the poison you got to get rid of. I said that's poison to you. That's why you have to get rid of it. You know, I have heard people that go, oh, I get a cold this time every year. And sure enough, they get a cold every year. And it happens to them every year. Every year. But they've been saying it since, I don't know, years and years ago. That is part of who they are now. They just get a cold the same time every year. You know when the Lord tells us about the power in our tongue? This is what this is about. Renewing your mind and watching what you speak, because when you speak, you send out a vibration into the atmosphere that's going to do one or two things. It's going to either do something very good or it's going to be destructive. So when you say negative things about people, what are you sending into the atmosphere?
Negativity.
And how do you think it affects them? Because it's going to, whether they're in your presence or not. Does that make sense? So when we say great things about people, all this good stuff goes out in the atmosphere, and then it starts blessing the people that we're speaking about. That is why this is so important, because it does send a message either way to our subconscious. It sends messages to other people because the vibration goes out. There's power, power, power when we speak. That's why God could create everything by speaking. And that's why he says to watch it. And why you have to renew your mind so that you speak things of truth, not 50% of what you think is the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's your subconscious. You're telling your subconscious. How? Now, okay, now you know about it. How do you fix it? Here's your fixes, okay? When you say I am, your subconscious immediately says, oh, this is a command. Immediately. You know, I am the righteousness of God. I do renew my mind every day. I do walk in holiness.
Yes. I am in miracles and walk in miracles.
Yeah.
I am a miracle.
Yeah. Or you ask yourself a question, which is another way. You know, why am I losing weight all the time? Why am I so good at giving to the poor? Why am I so great at compassion and love and giving to others? Why is it, you know, what is it about me? And that just, it eventually, well, it didn't happen. I tried it. Well, how long did you wait? Well, 2 days. What happens is what you say and what you become, it'll eventually usher into that place.
Yeah.
Your healing, your thoughts,
Well, it's because out of the heart, the mouth speaks. So your heart, out of your heart, the mouth speaks. It's out of my mouth, right? So if your heart is in a place of emotional connection with the Father and the Son, you're going to be speaking good things out.
Okay, let me just put it to you like this. They took a mice, and they let him smell peppermint, gave him a little scent of peppermint, and then electrical shock, and kept doing that. Now, the mouse had babies, and every time they took a baby and they give it a little bit of peppermint or let it smell peppermint, its stress level went up. Is that freaky or what? Now that's in mice. What do you think's happening to us? Yeah. I mean, my brother-in-law, I think there's something weird that happened in his family line somewhere because he doesn't like cucumbers. He hates the smell of cucumbers. And why is it that some people love the smell of gasoline?
Yeah, they do. That's true.
So they found that it's not just these traits or these things that happen are along the strand of your DNA and you carry them from generation to generation, which is why restoring the foundations and doing generational breaking curses of the generational lines is so important. So we can change our DNA, to something else, something better, something godly. How do we do?
Good. I want to talk about one more thing, real quick. One thing that the Lord has been speaking me to, and it kind of has something to do with this, and it has to do with the fact that you get yourself in negative places. When the angel told Lot and his wife not to look back, she looked back. So why did she look back? Because she desired something that was back there. Why do you look back? Because there's something you want to remember. There's something that in your past that you go for. And the Lord started speaking to me that people look back. Oh gosh, when the beginning of the vineyard, God moves so much and you just want to be there, you're actually stunting your growth to go forward. And we as Christians, the Lord, you know why people say don't look back? There's truth. God is saying don't look back. Don't try to be something you were back then, because that's not who you are now. God has a plan for you now.
Even if it was good.
Like Susan with horses was everything. And she'd probably love to be doing that, but God's going, I got a new thing for you. Yes. So you don't need to look back. And so we find so many Christians that get in a place of going like this. And then they're hindering this. So just be careful. Think about where you're going with the Lord. Don't look back and think about what it was. I mean, Bryce every day would probably think, oh, I'd love to have my body back the way it was. But God is going to have a testimony for what he does from his body going forward. So don't look back. We have to look forward. Because if we're looking forward, then we know what God's calling us into, and it's more exciting and more exhilarating than where you were in the past, what he's going to be doing in the future. So I would encourage you on everything we've talked about tonight is don't look back. Watch what's coming out of your mouth. The I ams that you speak over yourself, they're listening. Your body's listening. Pay attention to your mouth, how you speak to your spouse, how you speak about others. If we watch this and stay in emotional connection with the Father, we will start seeing overflow and overflow and overflow of blessing. Can't help it.